was your biggest takeaway as a band member from Ripplefest?
They're sharks. There are absolute sharks. You get up there on those big stages, man, and they're not fooling around. Like these are guys that care more about the show and the audience than they do about being a rock star. That's the biggest thing that I could take away from it. And just watching the professionalism, the courtesy, how they interacted with each other, how they interacted with the audience. It was like, this is, surround yourself with people that you want to be like. And that was absolutely the scene that I want to be a part of. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, this is S. Patrick Brooks from the Heavy Underground Farm Report. I am super stoked. I have got Lungburner with me today. I got 2 members of Lungburner. I've got Jens, and I got the newest member, the new bass player, Josh, with us today. So we'll talk about the new personal, the new lineup. It'll be awesome. You guys are on Electric Desert Records, man. We're super happy to have you guys here. Jens, how's it going, man?
Great. I'm glad to be back.
Right on. Yeah. I'm glad to have you back, dude. The last time we hung out was at Ripplefest, so it's good to chat again, man. And Josh, tell me where joining the band and.
Yeah, so I've been in the Atlanta music scene for 20 or so years, right? Played with a wonderful band called Attention System, which was a mixture of like electronica and punk rock for
cool.
I don't know, 10 years. And I kind of moved forward with that. I play in a band currently called Gorgeous Beast. Very sharp, very precise, very kind of like feminist focused and very heavy.
Cool.
And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be hip to join the best doom metal band in Atlanta? So I ended up giving this guy a call, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, I saw some clips from your show at Boggs. Is that correct that you played at?
Yeah, it's the last one we did.
Yep.
All right. Thank God I got one of those right. All right, cool. Yeah, man, I really enjoyed that clip. You guys sound super fucking heavy. So you guys had a single in December, Jens, and I'm assuming that, Josh, you were part of that. So you guys talking about getting back in the studio and doing some stuff with Josh?
Yeah. So we've already been he came in, he's got a lot of ideas, and we're kind of in that embryonic stage of writing. We got a couple of songs. We had the one single, kind of New Direction, that was right before Josh came on board. So it was kind of a springboard into, hey, we're already kind of in the writing phase. So he started to kind of send things back over, and we're just cross-pollinating at this idea and just kind of learning how to speak that musical language, right? And just get down to conversational level. So that's what we're doing now is starting to write. And I think we have a game plan to try to get everything written. Got a couple shows, test out some new material, and then go into the studio hopefully by August and have another September release.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah, you guys, man, you're prolific writers. Jens, you guys threw out a lot of stuff last year. You had the 2 EPs. You guys had the single. Do you think you guys are going to continue on that kind of pace? Are you planning for a full album this time around?
Yes, so the next one's going to be a full album. So we're looking between 6 to 8 songs to do a full piece, up to about an hour, about 45 to 55 minutes. And just kind of take the best of kind of what we've been doing with the first 2 albums and kind of branch out into that next thing. Like, so we're not trying to replay any of those albums. He has a lot of influence and bringing in and his playing style. None of us really came strictly from the doom world, so we're all kind of coming in and interpreting it with a different way. So there's no bridges, there's no walls, there's no this is the way we've always done it. So right now we're just kind of bringing him into the mold, seeing what the stew tastes like, adding the flavor, and then we're going to start writing everything. And as far as writing goes, that my ethos has always been like a band's product is its music. So always focus on writing. Playing is great and it's awesome. COVID did a number on that and kind of reset the scene. And I think that for myself, it was just like, let's focus on writing and have material. Because part of it is playing shows, but as a musician, I love writing and I love playing new music. And sometimes people say, well, what's your favorite song? It's the one I'm playing and I'm recording right now. That's my favorite.
So Josh, are you excited to be part of the writing process? I mean, like you guys said, you're coming from different genres. You're not like traditional, I guess, only doom only kind of players. So what do you think that you'll bring to Lungburner that maybe they didn't have before?
Sure. No, that's an interesting question. So when COVID hit, right, I got a really big dose of nihilism in my blood, like, mainlining it almost. I felt like I needed a Molotov cocktail just to throw at the universe. So I started
Sure.
writing tunes that were kind of influenced by that attitude. The plan was always to maybe put out like a solo industrial metal record or something like that. Um, as you get happy, that nihilism kind of goes away. So as COVID faded, I felt that like angst and that meanness in my body kind of roll out. But hey, I still got all that material, and I can tell you it's heavy as hell. It's hard hitting. It's socially active and socially aware. So my idea here is to kind of open that box and say, hey, here's a grab bag of things. Pick and choose. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But I do have this like giant backlog of material that we could pull from.
That's fantastic. So you guys have both brought up COVID, and obviously it was a defining period in our lives, and it was fucking just great for everybody. It was fantastic. So killed live music scene, but what it seems to have done, and let me know if you guys feel this at all, but I think what it's really done is revitalize the heavy rock scene because of exactly the kind of things that you're saying, Josh. It's a pretty dark time. Do you guys feel like there's a revival in doom and metal and heavy rock in general, or do you think we're still at the bottom of the hip hop electronic mountain?
Um, I think it's a mountain range. I'll be perfectly honest. I think,
Okay.
you got your hip hop mountains, you got your metal rolling hills. I think they're kind of independent. Like I enjoy both, so I kind of go back and forth. But I think
Yeah.
for bands, and this has kind of been my critique all the time. I think it corrected the ecosystem. I think there's a lot of bands out there that been playing a long time, great bands, but then you ask them, like, what's your new material? They've been playing the same thing for a long time.
Yeah.
And they kind of got in this, you got to go out, play, you got to play, you got to play, you got to play. And they're spending so much time, so much energy playing these shows and traveling and do all that. They didn't get back to the business of writing music. And I think kind of what we're seeing, a case in point is Mastodon, Hushed and Grim. It was a double album. And it was because now it forced you off the road. It took you back. We can't do all the shows. Now what do we got? Well, let's start writing. So we had all these bands now that, yeah, it was a psychological time. It was a zeitgeist. And a lot of people had a lot of things to say about how they felt about what was going on.
Sure.
And I think that spurred a lot of that, pressure makes diamonds. But I think also not being able to be on the road, I think forced a lot of bands to just be able to, well, not forced, but allowed them the freedom to not have to worry about putting all that energy there. And they started writing. And you have some really great albums come out of that because people weren't distracted with everything else.
Yeah,
and I think that kind of led to a bloom, right? Through every death, there's a rebirth. So it's kind of right now we're in the Phoenix phase where everything's coming back to life because there was that little break. And everyone recalibrated, got back into it. And I think took the opportunity to kind of retool, rewrite, and do all that stuff. So
that's yeah, Josh, you have something to add to that, please?
Yeah, there's another thing on there too, right? The ability to make music has never been more universal right now. The world is kind of flat. So when people stayed home for COVID and they stayed home with their kids, they were able to, pop on Amazon and maybe buy that guitar that they've been putting off buying for years, right? So I think what you have is a bunch of music from super independent kind of bedroom artists that's seen a revival in the last few years. And I think that's really great. It means that we have more music to listen to. It means we got more inspiration to draw from. I think that's really cool.
And I do too. It's like, seriously, I love heavy rock. And it's like the last 2 years are like, I describe it as drinking from a fire hose. It's like, I literally do not have enough time to listen to all the music that's coming out. And it's the best problem that I've ever had, I mean, I'm definitely not complaining about it, but I miss stuff too, and like, but people aren't missing you guys. Like, so you had a post on Facebook the other day and it listed like 5 or 6 top album lists that you guys made last year. You're getting a lot of attention on the scene. People absolutely love you. And for all the right reasons, your music's fantastic. 2 EPs last year, all kinds of excellent critical acclaim. You've been around for the whole thing. What's your, like, you've had a year to watch all this evolve, man. What's your like reaction right now to like where you are?
I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to walk out. Like it's all been you're doing punked, right? Like,
Dude, he's on my show. So hang on. No, he's not here.
Jesus. Yeah. No. The humility is always going to be there. I appreciate all of the effort, everybody that has liked us and followed us and listened to us and taken a moment out of your time to listen to what we're trying to bring to the world. I'm super appreciative of it. I'm humbled by it, really. Like, we just wanted to write music that we liked, try to play it for people that wanted to hear it, and the acclaim that's come in, I still have to pinch myself and just be like, I mean, we're doing something that people like, so let's just stick onto it. And the mentality is just, I always try to wake up and be grateful and appreciative of what I have, and just try to see, like, what can we start to give back. As you know, my wife's a photographer. She photographs a lot of the bands here in Atlanta, and our big thing is man, like, the scene's given us so much attention and push and support for what we've done. We're just trying to give that back as much as we can and support all the other bands, and try to support you guys, Electric Desert, Doom Sauce. They came up with our hot sauce, so just trying to get everybody involved as much as we can.
I gotta get that.
Yeah. And like I told you the last time, my motto has always been a rising tide lifts all ships. So we're just trying to be the tide, and hopefully we can use this to benefit the ecosystem and the scene as a whole. So yeah,
man, that's an awesome attitude. I'm going to ask you one more question, but I want to get back into the rising tides theory. Oh my God, now I forgot my question. No, my question was, so related to all the accolades that you received last year, and you sound like you're very flattered by all that, but does it create pressure that you didn't have before in the creation process? Do you have like any stress when you go back into the studio that you have you have to outdo what you did the last time or anything like that?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think anyone that would deny that would be foolish or lucky, right? Like, to not have that. But no, absolutely. And I think you had talked about this too, Josh. Is the idea that, like, yes, like, there is an expectation now, and this is entertainment, and people do want to be entertained. We can't. Audiences are selfish too. But, like, musicians, we want to write the music that we want to write, and audiences, there's a lot of part of the audience that wants to hear what they want to hear. So, knowing that we've got these albums out, there is an acclaim. We have a certain audience that wants a certain thing from us. And so there's always a pressure for ourselves to become better musicians. I always try, like, the next album should be difficult and stressful because I should be growing as a musician, right? I'm not going to make a mud hut, and then for my next act, I'm going to make another mud hut. You go from that to a skyscraper. So there's always that pressure internally to just try to get better. And now that these people have spent their money, they spent their time, give them a better product, right? And so there is that stress to perform, to be better. I think that key with it is just to be healthy about it and harness it for a good reason. Don't let it overwhelm you. The good wolf and the bad wolf, which one do you feed? Again, going back to what I said previously, pressure makes diamonds. And so sometimes that expectation, having that can make some incredible albums. I mean, look at what it did for Pink Floyd, all the internal strife. I mean, like Miles Davis said, no junk, no soul. So there's always a little bit of conflict that creates good things, just like what Josh was talking about in COVID and writing. So yeah, there's definitely a pressure. There's an expectation. And there's an expectation on ourselves of what are we going to do with it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome to hear. So Josh, little special pressure for you then, bud. You're the new guy in the band, and I think, do you feel like you have to prove anything, or is there anything that you like, or do you view this as an amazing opportunity to express yourself in a different way? How are you approaching that? Do you feel any pressure?
It's interesting. I've kind of avoided the analysis of the question. I come from not within the doom genre very much, right? So I'm a shredder, right? Like, this is caveman music, and that's a wonderful thing. I don't mean that in a bad way. So what's it about for me? It's proven to myself that I can do it. Can I operate in this kind of environment? Can I immerse myself in this genre that I'm fairly unfamiliar with and still be, a valuable person to the scene and to the music as a whole? So is there pressure? Yeah, absolutely. I have the good grace of being able to basically ignore it, just by virtue of coming in a couple of months ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. That's awesome, man. Well, I'm pretty excited to hear what you guys come up with. So tell me, Josh, how's your first show getting on stage with a new band? How did that go for you? Is that, it's just kind of another pressure situation, but you sound like you handled that pretty well.
Yeah, no, it was super fun. So it's a funny story, right? I was in Austin, Texas, and I flew back to Atlanta through the wind and the snow and the rain. It was a very cold night. And I literally got off the airplane, took off a suit and tie, got in the back of a car, and drove directly to Boggs. And
Oh my God.
Of that. So it was very, very quick. Good news, I didn't have much time to be nervous, right? I didn't have time to think about it. But as far as being on stage, it felt great. It felt great. Boggs is like home base for me. I've played there dozens of times with many different bands. And it was a comfortable vibe. The crowd was great. It was a blast. I think we played really well.
It sounded great, and I love that clip. And I obviously wish I could have been there for more than just the minute-long clip. But Jens, did you have any apprehension about going live with Josh? I mean, it sure doesn't look like you have any reason to.
No. He came in. We had a rehearsal. And kind of like, he came in. He knew it. I think we played through the set twice. There was 2 questions and 2 different changes. Like, hey, what's this part here? We went through the second time. It was seamless. My wife was in the house and she peeks her head out. She goes, yeah, and like leaves.
Man, that's insane to me.
At that point, and yeah, it's doom, it's all this other stuff, but there's a part of that too. Is like, look, this is rock and roll. Let's just grab it and go, man. Like, don't try to think about it too hard. No one knows how many mistakes are in the Mona Lisa, so let's just get up on stage and rip it.
Yeah, I don't even know how to react to that, man. That's freaking incredible. Like as a non-musician guy, or as a guy who like desperately wanted to be a good guitar player, and then after 10 years it's like, dude, just do something else. Maybe you should interview guitar players. That's like, do you guys like just feel like you have like some kind of like telekinetic kind of connection then for that to all come together so quickly? Or is that just basically a tribute to your professionalism, or is it a combination of both?
Yes.
The inclusive yes.
One word answers all day long. I love it.
We can't read each other's mind yet. We will be able to. Yeah. Not quite yet. I did a pretty good deal of independent study, writing music down, doing some charting and stuff like that. So I think I came in pretty prepared, which mark in the professionalism column. But as far as reading the minds, yet to come. We'll see what happens then.
Yeah. And I'll make a testament to all the new musicians out there, the younger guys, people trying to do the professionalism. Everyone knows how to play their scales, all this other stuff, but there's a whole little thing. And I think that with our writing, of how we write, everyone record everything. If you have a riff, like you come up with something, take out your phone to take a video and record it. Document. People forget more than what they know. And I think that what it is it's a testament to he writes, he records, he does everything. He's a professional. Practice is a skill. Learning how to practice, learning how to learn, learning how to read, and learning how to write. That all comes into it. Everyone can grab a beer, grab an amp to turn on and rock, but that extra step, when people start, talking about how do you get here, how do you get better, that's one thing I always tell them. Figure out your processes. Writing music is like math. There's a process to it. You got to get your desk, you got to sit down, and when we did that, all we had to do is, hey, where's your notes? Where's your notes? Oh yeah, we're doing this the same thing. We have our charts. We have our patterns, we have all that stuff, and learning how to speak the talk and being more than a rock star, that professionalism really paid off. And like I said, when we met up, started talking that same language, we compared notes. We're like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And his ability to come in as seamlessly as he is. And I think we had practiced, we had one rehearsal before that show.
Yeah, one.
Yeah. So everything you heard on stage was only our 3rd time playing it together ever. So
that's
it
amazing.
was just, and just finding a professional that loves doing what they do and do it well. So, yeah.
Yeah, Jen, I bet that I know you a little bit, and I know that you have, a complicated job that and I man, like that's got to really work for you. Knowing your personality, having someone that just comes in and is going to be as professional as you. So that's awesome. I'm glad you found somebody like that, bud.
Well, and it's funny that you say that. So I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
He's an engineer.
Jesus,
Joe,
you smart guys. God dang.
Joe, who's the other guitarist who's with Dayglow Morning, Joe's an engineer as well. So yeah. So it's
that's why I have you guys mixed up. It was the engineering thing.
Yeah,
I'm cutting all that out of the video.
Yeah, I get it all the time.
Don't
worry
about it, Sean.
To that guy? Yes, I am.
Dude, that's like. So I want to talk about that. Like, so you guys know what I do for a living. I sell weed. So I'm not an engineer at all. I do have like an electronics background, but do you think it like I mean it helps you like in writing, but do you guys think similarly because of your professions? Do you think that adds cohesion to your band because of what you do? I mean, that's really interesting that you guys have the same job, I mean, I know it's not exactly the same job, but principles of your job have got to be similar.
I think to say that we think the same way about the band as we do about our corporate careers is probably an understatement. We were having a conversation earlier and came to the same conclusions through the same thought processes. And it was kind of like, okay, this obviously comes from somewhere else, right? It comes from our work environment. So I do think that there's a big overlap there.
So
ahead,
the
Jones, I'm sorry.
might be different, but our toolbox of how to deal with things and how to organize and writing and all this stuff, like we are very into systems and processes and for replication, scalability, and I think that because bands are businesses too. So I think if you want your band to be Coca-Cola, you have to think like an executive, not like a driver.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great point. I know I was at an event in Denver last night, and it's interesting to see different local bands, and there's a lot of bands that think like the driver, and then the bands that break out of the local scenes, they are thinking like the CEOs. You guys have worked, you're on a scene that Mastodon's massively supported. Do you think some of their work ethic and success has affected the way that you direct your band?
I definitely take the inspiration, knowing where they came from, being in the scene, knowing the people that they know, running into them a couple times. It does make it accessible, and it gives you that whole like, oh, okay, these are guys that are just like us. They just put themselves in that CEO mentality and really just said like, let's dedicate ourselves to it. So I think what they did prior to, especially in the scene, really does help motivate and show that like, this isn't, inaccessible. I mean, for like you listen to March of the Fire Ants, and now you realize, like they're Grammy winners. So like,
it's crazy, right?
Right. So it's like if you do anything well and you really put your heart into it and you just care about it like those guys did, or do, that's what happens from it. And so I think, they definitely kind of showed in this realm, they did for sludge what I think Metallica did for thrash.
Yeah, man. That's a great analogy. Tell me, Bud, the last time or the only time that we met in person was at Ripple Fest. And so we hung out at Ripple Fest on a day that was just loaded with amazing bands. That whole festival was just like the talent level is crazy. I know you didn't get to spend as much time as you would have probably liked to be there, but you did get you got to spend some time, meet some guys. Tell me, what was your biggest takeaway as a band member from Ripple Fest?
They're sharks. There are absolute sharks. You get up there on those big stages, man, and they're not fooling around. Like these are guys that care more about the show and the audience than they do about being a rock star. That's the biggest thing that I could take away from it. And it's just like, these are the professionals. These are the guys that are that are putting everything into it. It's not for themselves. They're not like, oh, I'm a rock star getting drunk and, hanging out in front. Like, no, they are dedicated. They're talking to the fans. They are on time. It is their craft, and they are there to perform. And that level of professionalism and ability, like, they weren't all Yngwie Malmsteen and Eddie Van Halen. Like, these were some guys that were just really, really good, but you could tell that they cared, and they were professional. Again, that was a whole festival of CEOs. And just watching the professionalism, the courtesy, how they interacted with each other, how they interacted with the audience. It was like, this is, surround yourself with people that you want to be like. And that was absolutely the scene that I want to be a part of. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That was my takeaway from, that's a great answer, man. I like when we sat at the table and we did the interview with Colin, and then John just comes up and joins in. And then the captain from Kal-El stops by and says hi. To me, that was like, man, like you just said, that's the scene I want to be part of. Those are the kind of bands I want to go see. Yeah.
I mean, some scenes are like that, and some scenes shoot one another and get in fights, right? Like, it's I'm I'll play this music because I love it, but I'm grateful that the people make it worth it. And the whole scene, like, there's competition, but in the friendliest of ways, in the best of ways. So I have yet to really see any egos anywhere. And I've been in the traditional metal bands, and I've been in, the melodic death metal and metalcore. I've done some of that stuff out in California, and there's definitely some bad blood between some bands out there. But in this scene, I just don't see it.
No, even the bands that do have some issues with each other don't publicize it, which I've appreciated. So, yeah, man, I love that about our scene too. There is really, I have not encountered any pushback. You guys have been awesome to come on my show. Like, you came on my show when, dude, I think I had like 6 subscribers or something. So, man. So, like, I appreciate you guys, you doing that, especially Jens. That was really cool. But yeah, I think that's, to me, the real attraction of this scene is the accessibility to the bands. Getting, like, at Ripplefest, I could talk to anybody I wanted to. But man, that's like a double-edged sword, right? So you guys deserve a bigger audience. You deserve more people at your shows. You guys are making great music. And part of me wants to see that for you. And then part of me selfishly wants it to be 300 people at a show. And I know that's kind of fucked up, but where do you guys land on that? Is that something you guys even think about?
I've done shows with thousands of people, and I've done shows with 100 folks, and in the heat of the moment, I don't really think about it. Now that I'm self-analytic about it, it's when you're up on stage, I don't think about the cats in the crowd a whole lot, to be honest. I do get nervous, but I weirdly get more nervous the fewer the people. If there's 5 folks in a bar on a Wednesday, that to me is a much taller order personally to get over than if there's 5,000 on a Saturday. Do you know what I mean?
Oh man, that's a real interesting perspective. No, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, no, I think the same way. Yeah, I played in front of thousands, and I've played a couple shows where there was like the bartender, and yeah, there's a little bit of safety in the anonymity of just like the entire crowd, and you can kind of like turn off. But yeah, I think the only difference is before and after the set. But when you're up on, like, do I think about it? Yes. Do I let it affect my performance? No, because at the end of the day, I'm going to play for one person like I play in front of 1,000. Like, this is my show. Our performance isn't dictated by how many people are. So we want to give everybody. I mean, if there's one guy in front, like ZZ Top has that legend of that one guy who was there for that first show. He's like, hey, I'm the guy. Doesn't even know their name, but he's like, yeah, so
that guy is so lucky,
right? Like I'm going to play for him the same way that I'll play in front of Madison Square Garden, right? It's that same show. So yeah, the thought's always there. And like I said, like the nerves when like you see it packed and you're like, oh man, if I mess up, but I'm just going to keep my head down and walk in. But when there's 2 or 3 people and now, you've said hello to everybody in the audience, literally. And they're all like waiting on you, and you can see all their eyes. And like, you're just like, oh man.
Oh man, well, what? Yeah. Like, honestly, I've never thought about it like that. Thanks, man. That's a super interesting perspective. I will definitely, the next time I'm in a little club and there's only like 15 of us there, I am going to like walk right up the front and stare at those dudes.
I
No, I
mean, one
will
of the
not do
great
that.
things about heavy music is that we don't have to try real hard to ride that wave. You know, by the very nature of the material, you're going to get a really, really killer show.
Yeah.
It's not like we're magicians and we have to pull off feats of aerobic amazingness. You know, it's not like that at all. All we have to do is be who we are and bring the thunder.
Just end on the right note. Just
Dude,
end on the right.
and man, that's what I love about going to see this music. It's like I get all those that like it's that emotional outlet, you know, that's so positive, you know, from standing in the shop for 45 hours a week, dealing with customers and stuff. And I'm sure for you guys, it's like getting away from your spreadsheets or whatever you guys use, your AutoCAD. I don't know what the hell you guys do. Maybe you got like one of those tables with all the rulers and stuff. I'm not exact. Oh wait, that's an architect. That's not an engineer. I don't know. Unless you guys are like building bridges, I'm not sure. So
yeah, it's spreadsheets. It's spreadsheets.
Yeah.
no, man. So how's the cassette sale thing going, man? I love that idea.
That's actually all Eric in Electric Desert. He pulled all that off, and he's kind of heading all that up.
Are you pretty stoked about that?
Yeah. So we got those a little bit late for our shows. So we were just like, yeah, go ahead and manage all of that, send them out to who we are, kind of use it as a PR and start kind of selling it and, you know, give back to the people that supported us. But yeah, when he showed us the cassettes, that's the first time I've been on a cassette. So, hey, it's a bunch of firsts,
cool.
you know? Yeah. Like, you know, yeah, it's cool. He got us both of the discs for both the albums. Like I said, we got that hot sauce. So now like we have this like growing merch and it's just like, you know, like I'm a big boy now. I got the table, I got prices, and
Eric is amazing at that. Like, any plans or ideas to put your extremely successful EPs on vinyl at some point? That's probably a selfish question from a guy who likes vinyl.
Yes, there is a plan. Right now, so last year was kind of a weird hiatus year. As everyone knows, I was out in Texas. The band was back here in Atlanta. So now that we're here, we're planning on getting up more shows, gearing up more. And I know that in conjunction with recording the new album and releasing that, we want to go back and try to do a double LP. I know that was one of the ideas that we thought about is you know, we have enough material and LPs are big enough now. We can put one album on each side.
I was hoping.
So, kind of kill two birds with one stone. Yeah. And so have that in coordination with the next album and just try to have everything pressed. But
man, that'd be freaking badass. You got some live shows coming up. Let's talk about that. You have a new light show. Tell me what you have coming up. Talk about the, looks like we got Josh on the light show question.
Yes. Yeah. What do you want to know?
I want to enlighten me. Sorry. On your new light show.
Programming lights is always super fun. It's just kind of a hobby of mine. It adds, I think, a visual aspect to shows that I miss when it's not there, right? So when I came into Lungburner, I sat down with Jens and said, well, what comes up to the next level, right? And that was one of the things that popped. So I've got a small light rig. We're working on doing some kind of automated stuff. We do have a person that comes in and runs our lights for us from backstage whenever we play right now. And hopefully it just gives a more gravitas and a more exceptional experience to a concert.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So I love that atmosphere.
So he literally is our thunder and lightning.
Josh, you're the whole storm, baby. You got the whole storm. Right on, man. Tell me, what do you guys have coming up in the immediate future as far as confirmed live shows?
I want to make sure I get all these dates right, because I was kind of,
that's cool. And then we'll definitely be reposting your dates and stuff. So
yeah. Was it March 8th? We have a show with Hot Ram. That's going to be in Athens. And we have another Shade Beast show for April 26th. The headliners changed out. There's been some personal stuff. So I know that we got a show in Athens as well as the 26th. Yeah. We are playing a Doomfest in Houston in May. That will be announced shortly. We're still working on all of the particulars on that. We also are playing Stone and Doomfest That's with Grasping Air out in Asheville, North Carolina. So they're having a fest.
Hell yeah.
That's July 11th and 12th. So we'll be playing on the 11th. And then we have the Doom and Gloom show with Terror Bay down in Tampa, booked for November 1st and 2nd.
Hell yeah, guys.
That's there. And then we're going to announce a little bit more once the specifics are done. But we are in the works with Bong Wizard to play again in Atlanta. They're going on tour, and they're going to be coming through, and we're going to be hooking up with them.
Those guys are awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Those were the guys that told me I need lights.
Right on. Yeah, that's the thing about this scene. People don't want to they want to help other bands. I don't want to keep that shit to themselves. That's so cool.
Those guys are a major help. Justin is awesome. Ronnie, all those guys. Yeah. So so they're coming back through, and then we got a couple things. We're trying to get on a couple more festivals. We're trying to make it out by your way. If they're listening, Camru hooked up with you last year in Tampa.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's cool.
So we'd like to try to come out to Colorado. And like you said, the guys up at Shadows of Jupiter, up in Chicago. So we're looking to try to get up there, and Grim Reaper, I believe, is up there as well. So I'm originally from Chicago.
That's right.
So I'd love to be able to play with Colin and them up there.
Hell
yeah. So we're just trying to take a little bit more chunk and spread our legs and work out a little bit more and get around the country. So
I'm doing the announcements for the Grand Rapids Doom Fest. You guys are in the conversation for that as well, right?
I know that we had talked to Jason. We didn't have anything confirmed yet. But
all right, I'll keep my fingers crossed on that one too.
Yeah,
so, man, you guys are that's fucking, your year is going to be huge. Album, multiple shows, amazing festivals. Man, I'm stoked for you, Jens. And Josh, it's super awesome to meet you. I'm super happy for you too, buddy.
Thank you.
And I'm also happy it's Dylan, right?
Dylan? He's the drummer?
Yeah. Dylan, I'm happy for you too, buddy. I'm just pretending he's there. No, I'm just pretending he is. I'm just pretending.
Okay.
I have sitting right between you guys. He's like the headstock of that fucking guitar.
I don't know if he's there. It's like, where's Dylan? I'm like, oh yeah, he's always behind me. So he's
Dylan, we know you're here in our hearts, baby. Man, Dylan is a great guy too. Well, hey guys, I got to wrap this up. I got to go take my kid to her rehearsal. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on and talk about your band. I love you guys, man, and
I appreciate you for having us, man. So
yeah, you guys are awesome, man. Well, but I'm gonna wrap it up. Anything you guys want to hit though, really quick before I hit the stop recording button?
Floor's all yours.
Thank you, Sean, for having us on. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
Please don't stop listening to this music.
What he said.
What was that?
Don't stop listening to this music. This heavy ass.
Oh
music.
no, dude. Hell no. This music, we could do another half an hour here, but this music's been life-saving for me. So in the most literal of senses. So I appreciate you guys for making it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Sean.
Hell yeah, guys. Hang on 1 second. I'm just going to do a little outro. Then I need 1 second with you guys. So hang on 1 second. All right. This is S. Patrick Brooks with the Heavy Underground Farm Report. And I'm super stoked to have Lungburner here today, man. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. All right. I think I'm stopping recording.
Of course, there's a lot of misery Yeah!